Is the fullback for Warrington. Then they go Riley, Griggs, King and Penny. There's no Priers. Gleeson operating at standoff alongside Monaghan. Forwards, Morley the skipper, Clark and Rauhihi, Mitchell, Westwood and Blythe. And on the bench, Parker, Wood, Braycheck and Cooper. And the coach is James Lowe's. For Huddersfield, Hodgson is at fullback. Aspinwall, Lawrence, Wilde and Elford. Then Foreman the skipper alongside Robinson. Forwards, Crabtree, Fayumu, Mason, Raleigh, Jones and Brown. And the bench here is Jackson, Griffin, Hudson and Kermon. The coach is Paul Anderson. Well, Huddersfield 12 months ago, they arrived here, they won 34-22 to confirm their own playoff debut. Warrington went on to miss out. Huddersfield led out by Stuart Jones, who is playing his last game for the club. He will sign on the dotted line for Castleford next year. And also the substitute, Ryan Hudson, is going back to Castleford as well. So big nights for those two, and big nights for Huddersfield. But an even bigger night for Warrington. It really is do or die in their quest for a home playoff tie. Fourth place will be theirs with this win against Huddersfield Giants. If they get the win, it would be their fourth of 2008. But they've got 3 defeats in a row immediately behind them, and so confidence will be the key. Harlequins, St Helens, Castleford and Hull Kingston Rovers have all won here in 2008. It ought to have been sewn up by now, but they were mugged at St Helens 4 weeks ago, and they've lost to Hull Kingston Rovers and Castleford in the last 2. Their supporters here are literally holding their breath.
And they expect tonight, Eddie, because it has been a disappointing season for them. There's the referee, Ben Thaler. Let's hope he gives both sides plenty of room to move. There's plenty of talent on show tonight. And not more so, the eyes will be on the normal centre, Martin Gleeson. He's playing standoff tonight. Be interesting to see how he handles that against Chris Thorman. No Breers. Big loss to the Wolves.
Foreman with the kick-off, Breers underneath it. Here comes Adrian Morley. There's Crabtree and 2 others in. And if you thought that Huddersfield had got nothing to play for, look at that. Tremendous chase from the kick-off, led by Stuart Jones, who's playing his last match. And Huddersfield obviously wanting to give Stuart Jones and Ryan Hudson the perfect send-off.
Not only that, but quite a few of the players who'll be looking for contracts for next season. Nathan Brown, the new coach, he'll be coming over from Australia pretty soon. Trying to get them all into shape.
He coming back for Warrington is massive.
You could also add to the fact that there are probably 4 Huddersfield players who have a potential to actually make the England squad in the World Cup. They'll be keen as well to impress and show that their performance justifies selection on the trip down under.
Well, storm clouds gathering over the Halliwell Jones Stadium. It has been a pretty decent afternoon, to be fair. The sun has been shining down. The rain abated around about 8:30 this morning. But the pitch is bound to be a little bit soft underneath, I think. But as you see, the rain is on its way, perhaps. Here is Crabtree for the Huddersfield Giants. Strong run. He went straight to Griggs. A brilliant offload, though, to Lawrence.
Good play by the big prop forward there.
And a penalty. They have a penalty for a swinging arm.
Well, I was just about to say that the defence that we've seen already from the Warrington side, no doubt about it, Morley far too high on Lawrence there. It's just that a fortnight ago against Castleford, the defence was absolutely shocking. And you can see that Morley in the wars already, blood trickling down from the cheekbone.
That was Keith Mason. That was Fayum with the dummy half. Here is Crabtree again. He's prepared to take on Morley, going toe-to-toe with Morley and Raheem. They're right underneath the Warrington post. The Huddersfield Fayumu gets it back to Robinson. Here now is Kevin Brown. That's a good hit by Penny, but he didn't finish him off. And Huddersfield attack down that right-hand side again. Flying tackle low down then by Michael Monaghan. Here is Robinson. Robinson back, it comes to Thorman. It's opened up for Thorman. It's an easy try for Chris Thorman. The referee hasn't given the end though, Ben Thaler. What's he checking on?
Either an obstruction there, please.
That dreaded word, obstruction. Look, nothing wrong with it from up here, and Chris Thorman is celebrating.
before, the video referee tonight, Steve Ganson, take nothing away from the sidestepping ability of Chris Thorman. Look at the huge gap there. Rahimi was just left in no man's land. I think this will be given.
Well, they looked at the grounding by Chris Norman, and I think you're right. But it's Steve Ganson who has the final say. He pushes the button, and the try is given to Huddersfield. It is not the start that Warrington wanted, but Huddersfield Giants, and they've brought quite a few supporters with them for their finale of 2008. They're delighted, and it'll be 6-0 in a moment.
Well, I did about to say that perhaps the return of Paul Rahihi would be effective, but not if it gets into a defensive muddle like that. Adrian Morley and his co-prop Paul Rahihi went for the same fella, the big bloke, Earl Crabtree, and it allowed this man Thorman all the space in the world.
Well, you know, the Huddersfield tackle from the kick-off of this match was a statement of intent. If Warrington had any doubts about who easy today was going to be, they've learnt in the opening minutes of this match that Huddersfield have come here as determined as any team, be it in round 1 or round 27. They want to play as well as they possibly can, finish the season as winners.
And Phil, I was watching Warrington warm up just before the game, and I saw them do a drill that I haven't seen them do for some time, and they were working on their speed of line. 2 weeks ago we saw them against Castleford, and they were very, very poor. They were soft in the middle, the speed of line was very poor. I thought when Kevin Penny came off his line before, he showed a lot of aggression. I'm thinking that's how Warrington want to play tonight, but they just forgot about it when Chris Thorman got the ball, and they got themselves a little bit tongue-tied. And but I think that's their theme for tonight. They have to be much more aggressive.
Talking about aggressive, Huddersfield look very aggressive up front. This is Mason, and again he's hauled back, and that could easily have been a penalty against Rahihi because the arm was round the neck again. Here is Fayumu, and it's on the diagonal run, Andy Raleigh, hauled down by Matt King. And up in the air it goes, off the boot of Thorman. Should be easy, and it's claimed by Chris Hicks.
Good work by Thorman there. Not only did he get the kick away, he made sure that he got everyone onside. If he runs in front of the players, then they are put on onside. Good work from Westwood. That's got to be a penalty. That's silly play.
Well, it was a good run from Westwood. It was decent defence also from Shane Elford, but then he just overcooked the pot a bit.
He's got to roll away. He can't use the man as a lever. Spotted by Ben Thaler. Well, this is huge relief for the Wolves.
Yes, not the start that they wanted.
Mentioned time and time again, Eddie, that this is such an important game. They really could have had even third position wrapped up if they'd have really played to their potential, and that is a lost ball. That'll be a knock-on.
Ben Westwood losing the possession.
Well, doubt already is jingling around in the brain box of these Warrington players.
I've got to say, I think he's a bit unlucky with that call. I think that ball was pulled out. I think very unlucky, not penalised.
James Lowe's didn't look too impressed of it all.
Not sure, Sean, looking at that view, there didn't look as though there was much in that. Westwood with loose carry, Huddersfield in possession, and with Mason driving the ball forward again. There's Fayumu, and he goes down the right side, he finds Robinson, he's looking busy, and he puts Stephen Wild in the hole, and he's round Chris Hicks. This is a disastrous start for Warrington. Absolutely disastrous, but wonderful for Huddersfield, and Stephen Wild with a touchdown, and they are celebrating. Stephen Wild with the try, his 80th Huddersfield appearance here, top scorer last year. That's his first try of 2008, and Kieran Purtell in the stands, and Paul Anderson, who's at ground level, they're signing off, and at the opening stage of this match, they're signing off in style.
Shocking defence again from the Warrington side. They opted to go on that short blind side. Good work by the hooker, David Fayumu. And they were caught napping. It all came about from the header from Westwood. We saw in the replay that he really didn't carry that ball effectively. That was good stuff. Notice how Mason came back on the inside to make just a little bit of a problem in the defence. And Robinson sneaks it in to the big fella, the loose forward. Oh, this is superb play. Stephen Wild Little wonder they've got a big smile all over his face. Can he add the two?
Yes, a few moments ago he did that, Chris Thorman. It was an easy kick for him. Stephen Wild's try. Look at that scoreline, 12-0 to the Huddersfield Giants. Warrington going for fourth, Huddersfield just wrapping up their season. And Huddersfield really catching the eye. And Bradford ahead 6-0. At the moment, Warrington are on the way to Perpignan next week.
Well, it'd be a bitter disappointment for James Lowes and the Warrington side, because when he took over from Paul Cullen, they did have a pretty good run. It looked as though they'd sorted out a few problems here. I'm afraid after what we've been watching for just over 7.5 minutes, the old problems are starting to show from the home side. They're in a heap. Big hole. Can they get out of it?
Kevin Brown for Huddersfield, Luke Robinson directing operations at dummy half. This is Raleigh. Raleigh, a good strong drive again, pushing Clark and Westwood back a metre or two. Fayumu to Thorman. Thorman will get the ball in between Riley and Chris Hicks, the fullback. Riley collects right on his own goal line.
Look at that chase. That is tremendous. Unbelievable. This is a side that everybody said had nothing to play for, against a Warrington outfit that are desperate to get a home tie in the playoffs. There's no comparison, they just get battered.
Oh, but there is a relieving penalty. It was a high shot on Martin Gleeson, and that is manna from heaven for the Warrington Wolves at the moment.
Yeah, it certainly went into the face there. Jones didn't miss him as well. Gleeson felt it. Thorman, sorry. Apologies to Jones. Thorman was the man that got the flat hand, and as we've witnessed all throughout this weekend, the rain is coming down. And if it really starts to pour like we saw last night, a 12-point lead, boy, that's a big hill to climb.
Well, let's go down to Bill on the sideline. I think there's news of a change already.
Three, get up! Hold it, Keith, hold the line! Well done!
I don't think we can hardly hear him. Here comes Chris Hicks. This is Chris Riley. He's away from the tackle of Elford, and Warrington respond. Riley with the try. Well, a moment ago, all the fans around this ground were booing. Now they're on their feet and cheering. Riley stepped out of the challenge brilliantly. Beat Elford, all ends up. And Riley, his 13th try of the campaign. The young man who made his Warrington debut against Huddersfield in August 3 years ago. They were beaten that day, but he's just given Warrington a lifeline in their quest for fourth.
Good work on the short blind side. Really was good stuff, and you could see that they were not prepared. Didn't get them saying, what a great fend-off there by Riley. Boy, if ever the side needed a touchdown, this is it. They both went the same way. Wasn't the best from Michael Lawrence. He got lost. And the fend-off on the wing, and Riley says, get away. We're back. It's amazing, this game of rugby league, isn't it? A few seconds ago, the home fans were booing their heroes, and now they're cheering.
Riley's try, a little bit of a lifeline for the Warrington Wolves. I know there's a long, long way to go yet, and here's an important kick for Chris Hicks. Not only for the fact that it will put Warrington back within 6, but this will mean he will have played and scored in every game in the Engage Super League in 2008. Thomas Bosch has the chance to emulate that in the game against Harlequins tomorrow for the Catalan Dragons, but all that's in the future. Right now it's 6-12.
They see Lawrence is dipping in and Thorman's already there. That means it's got to be the overlap. And the winger came in early. Riley stuck to the outside. That's a great try. And as I mentioned before, Eddie, they needed that. They were on the rack.
The points help, but they don't solve Warrington's problems. Morley has left the field and gone straight to the dressing room with an injury, where he doesn't look to be fit either. So there's a massive amount of pressure on Paul Wood, who's missed the majority of the season through injury, but is the type of player who could lift the Warrington side. Physically, they're losing the battle out there at the moment. Can Paul Wood address that?
Gleeson is underneath the kick-off again. Here is Rahi. He sort of picked that ball up then and almost stuttered and stumbled his way into the challenge.
Hold! Go! Well done.
John Clark's the dummy half, gives it to Martin Gleeson. Gleeson then over the top from Monaghan. Not the best, but he eventually finds Matt King.
Well, if ever there was a game needed from the big fella, he has taken a long time to settle. In fact, you'd have to say that he hasn't liked his first season in England.
And Libri is watching from the sideline. Castleford have fought back against Bradford, 6 points to 4, so it's pretty tight. But the important thing for Warrington, they know if they win this, they finish 4th, no matter what happens at the Jungle right now. Good offload. But nowhere forward, no way forward then for Chris Hicks. Play the ball, says the referee, which they do. It's on the last. Monaghan with the kick. And well picked up by Shane Elford, though he stumbled as you saw, but he got away from Gleeson. Let's go down to Bill. It's News of Morley, is it, Bill?
It is, Eddie. While they were celebrating that try, Warrington were worried about Adrian Morley, left the field. Paul Wood came on in his place. And Morley, I think, in the very first tackle of the game, picked up a bang in the ribs. So noticed he was holding his side immediately after that. And that's been the problem. He's off the field, into the dressing room. The doctor's there with him. I'm told it's precautionary, but he didn't look very comfortable.
Worrying for Warrington and worrying for England if it's a serious injury. Let's hope not. There's the knock-on by Earl Crabtree, and look at the tackle from Kevin Penny. A lot of question marks about this young man's defence.
Well, he should have been penalised. He certainly appeared to take him above the horizontal. Got away with it. Things have changed.
They're going down the short side. Here is Matt King for Warrington Wolves. Second tackle this set of 6. Clark. And Clark pops the ball up to Lee Mitchell. 20 years of age on Monday, Lee Mitchell, so still a teenager here, as he finds Monaghan, and that is Gleeson, and this is Westwood, and Westwood almost through Elford, very close to the line as you can see, but he's short, says the referee, so play the ball, which he does to Clark, and this is Monaghan, and his arm then was on the line, that's why the ball's out. Not the best pass from Michael Monaghan.
It's a shocker, simple as that. They had the opportunity as well. It wasn't the best pass to Westwood in the build-up to this. And if Westwood could have got it straight away, his sheer weight and strength would have got him over. He went close as it was.
Just 10 metres, all in that second.
Big responsibility on Michael Monaghan's shoulders tonight, Sean, with the fact that Lee Breers, as we've seen, is watching from the stands.
Absolutely, and I think Michael Monaghan certainly has been a player that Warrington have relied on a bit this year. I think he's been patchy. I think that would be the best way to describe his form. I thought he started the season very well. He's going to need to finish it very well if Warrington are going to finish in 4th position. The one point I would like to make, Eddie, is that in coaching parlance we talk about exit sets and good ball sets. For the first 10 minutes, Warrington never had any good ball sets. In other words, they never played in Huddersfield's half. In the next 5 minutes, we've seen 3 sets. All of a sudden, the pressure goes on Huddersfield now, and this is the way that you can actually turn the tempo of the game and get some momentum.
Monaghan with a good tackle low down, helped out by Matt King. It was Stephen Wilde who felt that. Here is Keith Mason again for Huddersfield. That's the last. Warrington this time have restricted Huddersfield to staying within their own half on that set of 6. The crossfield kick from Robinson is a good one. It turns Riley around. The chase isn't bad either. And Riley will bring it out only as far as Thorman and Crabtree.
Did the right thing, Riley. Instead of trying to pick the ball up on the half volley, made sure he got his foot to it. Good play.
Yes, Hicks got away from Fayumu first time round. Fayumu got him though. Here is Gleeson now. And Gleeson down the line. Taking on Hodgson, taking on Crabtree. In the end, being grounded. Could have been a penalty. Referee Ben Thaler shakes his head vigorously, says no. As Grix carries the ball forward again.
This is where Monaghan has to come into it. Tense moments there for Paul Anderson.
Rauhihi and Monaghan, and he finds Mitchell. He was enveloped by the tackle from Kevin Brown. That's the last tackle for Warrington here. Ball has come free, it's a knock-on, a waste.
I've got the impression that it was helped on its way. Certainly appeared that way. Not seen by the officials. This is something that does really infuriate the players and the fans. Obviously a lazy arm on that. Okay, Mitchell perhaps could have held it a little bit tighter, but it was good work though by Kevin Brown. Came in on the angle, shut them down.
Out.
David Hodgson now for Huddersfield. Only his 8th appearance of a totally wretched year for David Hodgson. This, meanwhile, is Michael Lawrence, who's an ex-England under-17 international. He's just back from the academy tour to Australia. Keith Mason now. 3 tackles gone. Huddersfield still inside their own half. Fayumu gets them over the halfway line though now, and Matty Blythe was in very quickly. Thorman waits, dummy half for Huddersfield. Finds Robinson. Robinson weighs up the options. Little chip over the top. Kevin Penny is after this. And Kevin Penny picks it up and then takes them on, but that's a good chase again by the Huddersfield side.
They got the right tactics of the Giants at the moment. They realise it's pretty wet out there, and
Not standing square.
that infuriates the coach. Paul Anderson will be mad over that. Good kick, good chase, and a bit of an interference there. They try to get on with it. You can see quite clearly there was 2 went either side. You've got to be behind each other.
Go now. Step behind.
Well, Monaghan thought about taking a quick tap and then was brought back by the referee because he hadn't blown the whistle and pointed to the mark. So that's why there was that little delay. So this time Monaghan finds touch, and Warrington begin again with Lee Mitchell.
One move. Hold it. Hold. Go.
Eventually gets to his feet, plays the ball to Clark, and this is Paul Wood.
2.
It's important now that the Wolves do not panic, not try to score on every play the ball, just get themselves in a good position. That's a good offload.
It was by Rauhihi. That ball then from Clark found Matty Blythe. Rauhihi is down though. Picks himself up a bit gingerly, Paul Rauhihi. Here is Westwood.
He's in all sorts of problems as a big prop.
Well, he's 35 years of age and they've given him another contract for next year here. Paul Rauhihi, very important player for them. Wild picks that ball up, just tackled by Kevin Penny.
Well, that was a good kick, but where was the chase?
But it wasn't as enthusiastic as Huddersfield's, was it?
It was shocking. There was only Penny there, and you could see that the man was fumbling with the football. No one applying the pressure.
David Hodgson takes tackle number 3, plays the ball quickly. And that's Elford for Huddersfield. Lawrence waits dummy half. He'll have a scamper forward. Doesn't make too much progress though. That's the last tackle. Fayumu to Thorman. Thorman drills the kick straight at Hicks. Off his shins. Hicks will begin the response.
If there's one guy out there in the colours of Warrington, you'd have to say Chris Hicks has had a tremendous season. Been pretty solid throughout the year.
Yes, he has. And as I said earlier, when he popped that conversion over the top, played and scored in every game of 2008 now, Chris Hicks. 198 points. Rauhihi leaves the field. So 2 front-line prop forwards. Rauhihi and Morley off the field. Penny did well to keep that ball in play then. And legs like an elastic man. This is King now. But not making any progress forward, Warrington. This is the last one. Monaghan's kick, but straight into Shane Elford's arms. And he's taking on Riley on the outside. Gleeson comes back to help out. Not Gleeson, Griggs, beg your pardon. Comes back to help out, Simon Griggs. Here's Lawrence.
It was quite evident that Warrington are missing the kicking skills of Lee Breers.
Hold it.
That was a very poor attempt right down the throat of the player, and it surprises me in such wet conditions why they don't just put a grubber onto the ground, but it's very difficult, especially in put it into the forward area. They've got to bend down, try to get it, could force the error.
Hold it. Hold.
To enjoy winter with a win on their backs is the prize that Huddersfield are looking for. For Warrington, it's a home tie here against either Wigan or Bradford next week. And that's out on the full from Luke Robinson.
Smart move by the coach, Paul Anderson. He's thrown out into the fray Ryan Hudson. It's been announced this week that Hudson will be going back to the Tigers next season.
Yes, a 4-year deal he has signed. Former Castleford skipper, of course. Strong run from Paul Wood. Hudson, number 19, on his back. This is Matty Blythe now for Warrington. One of the young up-and-coming things in this part of the world. Matty Blythe, only 19. He's been a substitute in the last 3. And Castleford hit the front against Bradford. 8-6. 6-12 here to Huddersfield. The two teams in playoff contention are behind at the moment. This is Hicks. Lovely dummy. Couldn't get the ball out to Riley, who wanted it. 4 tackles gone. Griggs at dummy half. Here is Gleeson. Gleeson then to Westwood. He was immediately clobbered by Griffin. Last tackle. Clark waits 10 metres out. Monaghan stabs the ball, chases it himself. Thorman is there, little knock on and a fumble by Thorman. It's a goal line dropout. I think Thorman managed to get a finger to it and just ground it. Don't think there was a knock on. He's facing his own sticks.
Smart move, wasn't it, there by the half-back Michael Monaghan. Thorman got himself into a good position. Knock on already being decided by the official Ben Thaler.
I think he blew his whistle a little too early there. It was going to be a goal line dropout, but
there could have been an opportunity perhaps for someone to come and score.
Riley will run it back here for Warrington. Well, it was a shocking start for them, wasn't it? They conceded 2 tries in the opening 6 minutes. Trying to rescue that damage now. They've partially gone some way to doing that with the try from Riley.
The biggest problem, though, is that Morley and Rahihi, the 2 big fellas, they lead them by example. They're going to have to do without them.
Hands in the ruck.
They're a little bit confused. Warrington at the moment, they're just hanging around. What we're going to do with it? Quick tap from Clark.
And there's the first tackle this set of 6 on Matty Blythe. John Clark waits. Has a little scamper at the defence, finds Monaghan. Oh, not the best from Monaghan. It was an awful ball again, looking for Mike Cooper.
It just wasn't on. Cooper really should have been utilised as a dummy runner, and he knows that, does Monaghan. We keep saying the responsibility on his shoulders now, especially with the fact that Breers is not out there. That just was not on.
I was just going to say, Steve, that pass is without doubt the most difficult pass to catch in rugby league. That's where the player hits that square line and the hole doesn't open up for him. It just puts him under so much pressure. It cuts his time down, it cuts his space down, and invariably we see them drop.
This is Ryan Hudson for Castleford. Gets the ball away. Oh, and another missed tackle on Wild. Hudson following up in support, manages to get the ball away as well to Aspinwall. Here now comes Kevin Brown. Huddersfield on the charge this time. That's 4 gone. Desperate defence from Warrington. Ryan Hudson, the dummy half for Huddersfield, finds Robinson. Here is Thorman. Thorman drifts it in behind the defence, looking for Shane Elford. And a good job that Chris Riley was there.
Just nearly got caught out as well, and Riley realised very late in the piece. He's a wonderful footballer, you know, Chris Thorman. He's always thinking. You could sense that there was a gap there, and Elford put Riley under a lot of pressure.
And the referee is rightly asking Steve Ganson, the video referee, just to have a look at that.
Oh, it's obviously, it was Riley. Riley got to it first.
Well, it is from up here on our angle, but at ground level might be a little bit difficult for Ben Thaler. Not the tallest referee in the Super League.
Do we have a tall one?
Well, another little one is in the box somewhere. Steve Ganson, who was looking at that and has given him the advice, and absolutely spot on. It's a goal line dropout.
Little and little.
Unlike you and me, little and large, is that right?
No answer to that.
Griffin drives it in again for Huddersfield, talking about large. The giants, when people like Griffin and Crabtree are out there, really are giants. This is Jackson, meanwhile.
Well, that's where Huddersfield should have the upper hand. They've got to have the advantage because of that strength that they've got in the forwards.
Robinson disappears under the tackle from those 3. Monaghan was all over him. It's Hudson. They're going down the short side. Here is Stephen Wild again, a constant threat down there. Stephen Wild still keeps going, making a few more metres forward. Hudson waits at dummy half. Kevin Penny screaming for help out wide, and it never came. And Kevin Brown has scored for Huddersfield.
He sure has. It's a great effort.
Kevin Penny, you could see him in the background there, screaming at his players, come across here and give me some help. There was no help for him. It was 4 against 1. And Kevin Brown just snakes out the arm and touches down. Kevin Brown, that's the 50th try of his career, a career, of course, that began with Wigan and has continued on at Huddersfield. It began 5 years ago, and Kevin Brown has silenced the Halliwell-Jones Stadium again.
Well, he's not the strongest player in the world, is he? He's pretty slight as well, but he's used his upper body strength to great advantage here. You can see there were 3 players at the play the ball area. He should have been stopped, and they know it. You can't afford to have 3 men in and around the play the ball area. You're going to be caught out, and let's face it, good tactics by Paul Anderson, because they're using Stephen Wild out wide on that right-hand side, and have I guess who they're pinpointing? The big fella, Matt King.
Silence is golden, but not here in Warrington at the moment.
I think Michael Monaghan had every right to be annoyed with his teammates there. He did enough, Eddie, there. He stopped the man with the ball.
How
he just
about
needed
that
some
for a
help.
conversion as well, Phil, from Chris Thorman. Fantastic kick from him, a difficult angle. 18-6, the Giants lead.
And fully deserved as well.
Look at Penny here, look at him, look, come and give me some help.
Get over.
And there's 4 round the play the ball.
You just can't afford to do that. They're just ripping this left-hand defensive side. And even he would have been amazed at the fact that he was stopped, and then they had the ability to allow him to wriggle out.
I just don't think we probably didn't give Stephen Wild enough credit for that. He dragged players in, he dragged them along the line, and they just all sort of piled off together, and they just could never get set. Kevin Penny's out there, Michael Monaghan was out there. They're trying to get them off, they're trying to get them off the ground, and they all just got clustered around that marker defence area.
An interference at the play the ball here, hands in the ruck. They're trying to slow them down. Let's get down to Bill, more news.
Yeah, on Adrian Morley, it's still no sign of him back from the dressing room yet, but I'm told that it's a muscle problem in his side. He's still having treatment, not ruled out for the rest of the game, but the longer it goes on, the more worrying it gets for the Warrington Wolves, as is the game.
Indeed so, 18-6 to Huddersfield. And here is Stuart Jones. Now it's with Michael Lawrence. Oh, and he went inside Griggs. Good job that Gleeson was there. Quick play the ball. Warrington in all sorts of strife defensively. Jones does brilliantly well to hang on to that.
Well, they're claiming it was a forward pass. They say it came off his chest.
It's Hudson. Oh, not the best from Hudson. Scuffles its way along the ground. That's a knock-on from Robinson. That's hard luck.
There was a golden opportunity as well on that right-hand side. Again. Well, there's just no coordination. We saw early in the game, they were eager to get involved. There's the big header from Luke Robinson, but again we're seeing the Warrington defence in all sorts of problems.
Nothing wrong with the pass, it just bounced off the chest.
Yeah.
And Stuart Jones did so well to hang on to that. Matty Blythe goes down under a ferocious challenge from Riley and Brown. Here is Parker now.
You just look through this Warrington side, you say, who's going to start bossing it out there? And I'm afraid, without Rahi and Adrian Morley, they're going to have to struggle. In fact,
stretch the lead at the Jungle, 10-6 to them.
It's an amazing league, isn't it, Super League? It's amazing. I'm just trying to say the point that, you know, maybe the second row, Ben Westwood, is going to start taking the role, right, as a prop forward. He has to. Someone has to start taking drives down the middle.
Monaghan, shape to kick, fooled them, little dink over the top looking for Gleeson, it gets though to Robinson instead, Griggs with a good tackle.
Good option, but well spotted there by the halfback Luke Robinson, sensed it.
Oh, here's a chance for Warrington.
Now.
Hodgson dropped that under pressure.
And that's what Michael Monaghan's done. He might not have a front row on the field. Warrington don't need to worry about making yards with the ball. They can do that. It's improving the defence. By doing that now, that will help when they get the ball. As we see here, first time they've been near the line for some time.
Indeed so, and it's Clark who comes down this right channel, gives it to Westwood. Westwood, though, he just accepted the pass and stopped. It's with Clark again. Now it's with Monaghan. Monaghan wide, he finds Matt King, and King will cut inside. He backed himself, and Kevin Brown was the man who pulled him down. Monaghan again. Can't get the ball.
He was just
over.
about to reach through there. They got back in numbers. Pretty good defence from the Giants, and what on earth was that?
It was an awful pass from Matt King, I'm afraid.
Well, it's gone from bad for worse for the big Australian.
And that's poor tackling and more poor tackling on Aspinwall.
Shocking.
3. Give it, come in. Go, it's okay.
Lawrence for Huddersfield.
4.
Hudson on halfway, waits at the play the ball here. Gives it to Jones. Those two operating for Castleford next year. Castleford are 10-6 up against Bradford at the moment. Here, it's 18-6 to Huddersfield as Robinson pumps the ball downfield. Oh, he said play on, the referee. The referee said play on.
There'll be a try. If he has said play on, oh, they are very, very fortunate.
Well, was his foot on the line? His back foot, was that on the line?
Or was it in the field of play? Just on the line. It's very, very close indeed. Huddersfield fans, they didn't like it.
Well, Ben Thaler was about 10 yards away from Chris Hicks and he shouted, play on, play on. And Chris Hicks just threw the ball for a 20-metre tap restart and Huddersfield thought they'd scored. Oh, and Griggs has now lost the ball.
They look completely lost. It's an old expression. It looks as though they've lost the plot. Lawrence get the left hand in there. Knocks it away from Griggs. Boy, they need something big with the Wolves. And they were very, very lucky. Look at this. Thank you very much indeed. Just foot on the whitewash. Yes. You could see that the whitewash, the spray of the white came up.
And that means, of course, that the ball was diffused in the in-goal area for any new viewers.
And he wants to need to calm down when they have possession and fire up when they don't. This now needs to be where they lift in their intensity and get a bit excited. Get excited at stopping their opponents and stopping the ball.
Jackson gets to his feet, plays the ball to Hudson. Here is Robinson. Robinson then flicks the pass. And that's Danny Kermond. Picked him out at the start of the night here, set for a massive year next year, people predicting. And this is Ryan Hudson. Warrington hanging back in defence, and it's Thorman and Hodgson. And Hodgson will go up the middle.
The thing is that the Giants are not rushing. They're just taking it nice and steady. They're in a good position. That's a poor kick.
It's not the best from Ryan Hudson. And he knows it too. He immediately held his head in his hands. Paul Anderson, last match in charge. He'll be number 2 to Nathan Brown here next year. And Kieran Pertil, who's watching from the stands. Those two, between them, have done a fantastic job since John Sharp was shown the door.
Well, they're certainly bringing a lot of pride back into this side. A lot of people thought before the kick-off here that the Giants had nothing to play for.
Well, they haven't, Steve-O, in terms of league. Well, they have in terms of league placings, I suppose, but nothing in terms of the playoffs.
Well, it's pride, and they are by far the better outfit.
So, right to the end of the season, and remember, there's no relegation this year. Right to the end of the season, matches mean something to the players.
Looking to get away with that. Gleeson, to me, looked as though he sent a forward pass.
Last tackle here for Warrington. They're a little bit like a rudderless ship at the moment. Maybe Monaghan can add some direction. There's a little dink over the top, and he's asking Kevin Penny to chase it. Kevin Penny got a boot to it, but the ball goes out into the crowd. And Morley is back out of the dressing room, but is he fit enough to return?
Could be a huge gamble by the coach, James Lowes. He knows he has to get him out there if he can, mainly just to the fact that a bit of experience and leadership.
Well, he's led from the front all year, Morley, hasn't he?
Yeah. And we made comment a fortnight ago that at Castleford he certainly didn't look anywhere near 100% that particular evening. Taking nothing away from the Tigers, they played exceptionally well.
I don't think either of their front rowers look right to me, Steve-O. I don't think Adrian Morley does. I don't think Paul Rahehe does. I think there are too many players there. Here goes David Hodgson down the field.
Tremendous run from Hodgson. He's given it to Robinson. Robinson cannot get away from Matt King. That was an important tackle from the Australian. Here is Lawrence. Huddersfield, by far the most impressive outfit here tonight.
Well, it's a good job that the big centre, Matt King, got back in time.
Jones, Foreman and Brown. Hudson,
watch this Warrington defence.
How many missed tackles?
Well, not only that, Eddie.
Great offload. Here is Thorman. Thorman dink into the corner looking for Elford. And Riley, well, he saved what would have been a try, but it's a goal line dropout. The pressure from Huddersfield is enormous.
Certainly is, but the way that Warrington, we mentioned early in the season, they went into this defensive pattern where they hang back and see what the attacking side is going to throw at them. It was a good effort there, one by substitute Ryan Hudson, and then Foreman dinked it right into the corner. And it's a good job that Riley is on top form.
Just told the missed tackle count for Warrington is 11. It's 36.5 minutes.
Far too many.
It's not a team that can have real ambition of getting to Old Trafford.
Well, he won't put any scare tactics in.
Great
Oh,
ball!
look at that.
What a pass, Hudson! Wonderful ball it was from Darrell Griffin, and a flop, and Huddersfield have a penalty bang in front of the sticks.
They'll take the two here.
I think they might, but when you think about it...
No,
they're not.
For the tap.
They're running it. Oh, and Warrington, but surely they're offside then. Hudson, dummy half. Here is Robinson. Back again to Robinson. This is Kevin Brown.
Line.
Well, if Huddersfield get over the line here, Warrington are in a massive hole. Robinson. This is Thorman. Thorman. Back it comes to Hodgson. Lawrence.
Good job that Riley got there.
It was.
They had the advantage, they still got the advantage.
This is Elford. Riley misses him. He just doesn't make it over the line. Lawrence. There's still a couple of tackles in the bag here. Slides the kick through. Oh, it could be a try for Hudson, this. It could be a try for Ryan Hudson, this.
He'll go to the screen, that's for sure, Will Thaler.
Get your passports out, Warrington. You could be on your way to France.
They went early on the tackle count. This was on the 4th. No one anticipated, no one at home. Does it come off a Giants player? We'll have to wait and see. Robinson is putting the arm in there. I think you might just see that it's Robinson's fingertips to it first.
I think it's first Monaghan now. Whether it touches Robinson's hands second to that, which would still negate it as a try, wouldn't it? I think it comes off Monaghan before touching Robinson.
Yeah, I think you're right. First. And then Robinson gets a fingertip to it. Now he's got to make the decision now that the Monaghan touch is going backwards. That means it's play on. I think I'll go for a no try here.
Well, Steve Ganson is the man with the button, and he has Warrington's season under his finger. He has given the try. Ryan Hudson was confident enough. He celebrated in front of the Huddersfield supporters, and the referee, the video referee, Steve Ganson, has ruled that that ball came back off Robinson and went backwards. The try is given. Warrington in all sorts of trouble.
Well, he deserved it, didn't it? Beautiful kick through. They're in complete disarray. I'm taking nothing away from the wonderful effort there by the Giants. Hudson gleefully scores it. Robinson knows that he had a touch to it, but he's been given the benefit of the doubt by Steve Ganson, the video referee.
And Coleman adds the extras. 24 points to 6. Huddersfield are ahead. Warrington fans will remember what happened at the Millennium Stadium, of course, in the Magic weekend. At half-time there, it was 22-6, and Warrington came back to win, but they were playing a bit better than this.
But look at the precision from the kick there from Chris Thorman. There's the try scorer, and there is the coach that is looking down the barrel of a real hammering. 6:24 down is not the sort of scoreline you would anticipate from a side who were fighting to get a home tie in the playoffs.
Well, Wigan's point last night at St Helens put all sorts of pressure on them, but it all depends now what's happening at the Jungle, Castleford-Bradford.
Perhaps we're seeing the effect of pressure on performance here. There's no pressure or expectation on the Huddersfield Giants. Maybe it's a team who are coming out to play and have some fun. and that's the reason why they have played so well, because over the course of the year, Warrington are a better side. The league position tells us that. But when the pressure's on, it tends to have strange effect on people. Is that going to be a 40-20? No, Penny keeps it in field.
Warrington leading 2 minutes to half-time.
Warrington don't seem to be able to have coped with the pressure and expectation going into this game.
They look completely lost, and you could see there with the kick and chase, there was no less than 10. Yeah, 10. Not 1 or 2. 10 giants in the chase. They battered their opposition.
The one thing that Huddersfield are after today, they've gone virtually all season without an away win. They've won the last 4 on the road. Listen to the crowd. Warrington supporters not happy. Warrington coach not happy, and what will make them even less happy is the news from the jungle that Bradford have just scored against Castleford. It's a moment, it's level over there, but the kick is to come for Bradford.